Welcome, amazing real estate professionals and investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, February 21st, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 216. I'll begin by announcing our winner of the week. We had some great success stories last week, and it was a tough decision. We appreciate Tricia with your lightning strike story. When you actually get that listing, please come back and let us know. And then we had our long-term subscriber, Soji, that got 2 deals. Soji, you came in second, but our winner of the week was Tom Harness. Tom had 2 listings and 2 sales, and Tom had been with us for about 4 or 5 months and was patient and was really just starting to reap the rewards of sticking with the program. So Tom Harness, you were our winner of the week. Your salesperson will contact you and see what you want to take for your prize. And that's all I really have this week. Tim, what would you like to share with the group?
Not a thing at all. Things are moving well. It's a great month. We're hearing from, we've heard a lot from customers this week about getting their programs lined up. A lot of people are stepping up and adding additional counties, as you know, Jim, and we've been working with people on that. We're trying to make them happy with getting that done and offering some incentives to do that. So if you're being successful in the county that you're in and you'd like to add one, make sure you give your salesperson a call and see what kind of crazy stuff we might do to help you get a second county. The other thing is more and more people are availing themselves of the, our letter program, the calling program, and those are the people that are sticking around being successful. So if you have questions, please let us know. We'll be happy to work with you and get all that done.
Perfect. Chad, what would you like to share with the group?
I don't have anything. Let's just roll the lines.
All right. Well, we only have 2 people in the queue, guys. We got plenty of room for more. We usually have 6 to 12 people that we're able to talk to every week. So please don't be shy. Hit *6 and hit 1. We're looking for the best success story of the week. We're also looking for basically anything we can help you with. If you're getting stuck, if you've got call reluctance, nothing's out of bounds on these calls. So there you go. Now we got 4 people. Thank you. All right. Well, first up this week is phone number ending in 2686. You're up first.
Hi, this is Kevin. I just have 2 pretty quick questions. I'll just get both of them out and let you guys answer. The first one is, when we go into our portal and under the My Leads drop down and My Deals, it looks like that's designed for like stuff you've already got under contract, or you gotta already have a listing agreement. Are you guys ever going to consider, like, when we run across people that say, hey, interested, but it won't be maybe 2 or 3 or 4 months from now, so we need a place to accumulate those kind of people. You think that would be...
What we're working on, Kevin, is one of the tickets that are in our current development. I think it's in the current sprint. If not, it's on deck. Is basically tying SMS and email reminders to your follow-up dates. Right now, you have to go in and you need to be aware of your own follow-up dates. So the best way to manage that would be mark them for follow-up on this date, and then we'll send you a text and an email when that time arrives.
Okay. All right. I'll think about that one. And then the next one, I know everybody talks about the ISA stuff all the time, but could you go over that again and say, like, okay, I believe you said it's $2 a lead, but go over how many times do they attempt to call your leads, that kind of thing. Is it just once after every mailing or twice, and what times of the day do they call? Any kind of more info on that?
Sure. It's kind of up to you. So whatever your campaign sequence is determined by you when you place your order. So you can choose letter 1, phone call 1, letter 2, phone call 2, and you can take that. I don't know that there's a limit to it. So if you wanted to make 24 phone calls, you could just, place those in the sequence. But the charge is $2.50 per lead, not per call. We call all 4 numbers, leave voicemail unless you tell us not to, and anything specific like times of day or certain things you want to highlight about your business, you'll have the opportunity as soon as you place your order, you'll be directed to an ISA input form, and that's kind of where you tell us about your business so we can call from your office. So it looks like we're sitting in your office, or it sounds like, we're working directly for you from your office. For the attorneys, basically the same thing, only we typically have one office phone number for an attorney, and it takes a more skilled caller and just more time to get through the gatekeeper. So the attorney calls are $7.50. But the reality is you'll probably only run a campaign like that 3 or 4 times, and then you'll have, plenty of attorney relationships. Every month, the personal reps are, for the most part, going to be different people, where with the attorneys, you're going to have repeating, month after month. Over time, you will have reached all the attorneys. So it does cost more because it takes just more time and more skill. However, you're not going to be placing nearly as many attorney calls as you are personal representatives.
Okay. And on the regular lead calls, what phone number or what prefix do you think comes up?
Tim, we pull a local caller ID number for every campaign.
Yeah, we pull a local caller ID for the area code that you're in, not your first 3 digits, but your area code. So if you're in, 123 area code, it'll be 123-456-7890.
Sure. Is there a way to know what that prefix will be before we make an order?
No.
No. Why would tell me why you need to know that? Maybe I'm not. There isn't now, but tell me why you would need to know that.
In larger areas, larger cities, way back in the day, they had one area code, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 20 years ago or so, they started expanding. So then they had a secondary area code. But most people still resonate with that original area code. And I know that's harder to get if you're using like a Google number or something, but that's the only reason why, because it just psychologically you're like, oh, they're from my county.
Yeah, it's an automated process. One of the things that we could consider doing, it's a good point. That's why I wanted to dig in a little bit. It's a good point because we're in I'll just give you an example in our marketplace. In our marketplace, there are 4 different phone number that they could be, but we have one that spans all of the counties in the marketplace because it's the one that they carved off specifically for mobile. So I get it. It's just not that there's no predictability between it based on it's different in different areas. But I'll check and see if there's a way that we could potentially allow you guys to pick whatever you wanted to pick to do that. I will also tell you, however, that that's coming to an end. If you've been following what's going on legislatively as we do, one of the current pieces of legislation that's floating around there is the one that's going to stop that entire process and not allow you to even pick that. Literally, you're going to have to go from the line that it's called from, and you can't go get one there. And we only get them temporarily because they're not, it's very inexpensive to do that. But if you literally have to go lock a number up and have it for, a long period of time, it may not be economically feasible. So we'll see. But I'll look into it. Thank you for your feedback.
So are you telling me that the Google number process will be changing?
I'm telling you that if you follow the legislation, call centers are being scrutinized now specifically for what's called spoofing, which is exactly what you're talking about, is getting a number that only exists for the duration of that calling period and then goes away. And that's how this is working today.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Now, what we are considering doing, because we actually operate our own phone service, not as part of this, but we operate our own phone service. We are looking at potentially not only doing this, but literally assigning everybody who orders the ISA program, just add a little bit of dough to it and assign that number out and then determine where that ringback is going to go. So it literally is your number, and those calls can go wherever you want, and potentially offer it as an answering service, as an additional service to offer, so that you're literally never talking to anybody who's not a prospect. So we're looking into all aspects of it, but it's interesting that you asked this. It just makes me want to look more. So we'll keep you posted.
Okay, cool. All right, well, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Next up, and we got 7 in the queue now, guys. Good job. Next up is phone number ending in 2402. You're up next.
All right. Hi. Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me okay?
Can hear you great.
Okay, great. So my name is Danielle. I'm in Tallahassee, Florida. Pretty new, just started this month working through Mastery. Got my first set of leads, and the letters have been mailed out a little over a week ago, and so doing the follow-up, and I just had a couple questions. So the first would be, in what instance, I was trying to understand a little bit, in what instance would you see more of like an out-of-town personal representative, and then your deceased has an out-of-town like last known address? So for example, someone had like a Miami address, but it seemed as if the probate was filed in Leon, and then the relative also lived out of state. So I guess I was trying to understand that a little bit more to see if that was accurate, or I guess the best approach in that sense.
Sure. So what you're saying is known as ancillary probate. So let's say a common scenario in Florida is somebody lives in New York. That's where they have their primary residence, but they have a winter home down here. When they pass away, they have to file probate in New York and in the Florida county. They have to, where the assets are located, you have ancillary probate on the out-of-state assets.
Okay, so then that makes sense. And the particular deceased, the last known, so you think it was more that they just had the property possibly here in Leon, or something here, an asset in Leon, because the deceased last known address was Miami. So you think that could potentially be it?
Yeah, and the Miami address could be a nursing home. It could be family member. It could be anything. Don't give too much weight to the deceased last known address, but excuse me. So it could be anything, but if they, ancillary probate is usually a really good indication that they did own more than one piece of real estate.
Okay.
Because most things aren't big enough in the out of the county that's not their primary residence. Typically,
Gotcha.
You don't have big assets that need to be probated unless it's real property.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, perfect. That gave me some greater insight. I was getting a little stumped on that last night and was happy the call was today. My second question was, when I am making calls, I'm so used to saying, my name is Danielle Price with Keller Williams Realty and things of that sort. Do you all recommend saying, what brokerage I'm from in the initial interaction? I kind of noticed it seems to make people close off. I'm still going and explaining, how I have a team of professionals, blah, 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 blah. But it just seemed like I was getting more objections by saying that, so I wanted to get your opinion.
Yeah, so drop your title. And that's a really hard habit it's a hard habit to unlearn for most people in brokerage, because we're conditioned to do that. However, if they have talked to a realtor, or they have this perception of what a realtor does or what their intent is, you get that immediately as soon as you title yourself. So stay away from the title and say, this is Danielle, I'm a certified probate expert, or hey, my name's Danielle, I've got a team of people here locally just to help families in probate. It can be anything you want. It shouldn't be realtor. It shouldn't be investor, because the instant response, if they've talked to people already and they're getting all kinds of mail, the instant response is these greedy SOBs. All they want is to steal the house, right? So stay away from that title. And because what we teach, like our model, we teach you to cast such a broad net. Like they have 25 reasons to engage in a conversation with you. If you being a realtor is the number one reason they want to engage, then they'll do that. But maybe they'll engage to talk about the estate sale company or your financial advisor or anything else. And you can very quickly segue into real estate. And that's most people, that argue with me on this point are like, well, I don't want to waste all my time. I can only make money on the real estate. It's like, yeah, but you can only make money if you get engagement. And this is the trick to get the engagement. So you offer many services, but you monetize one. So start discussing many, and then very quickly segue into the one you can monetize. And that's easy to do with real estate because you can say, well, listen, there's a lot of things we can do. It really starts with us understanding the family's goals and problems, and then we'll make some suggestions. So what's one of the biggest things, the biggest challenge with most of the families we work with is real estate, because it's usually a physical and an emotional hurdle. So let's just start there. Is there any real estate in the estate? And if so, what's your plan for it? And then be quiet. And they will unload the story. And if there's no real estate, offer to get them over to your financial services guy to make sure that, just to have a free review of their inheritance options, like what they can do with the inheritance money, and to set up an estate plan so they never have to go through this again. And then wrap up the call. If they do own real estate, that's when you engage and follow, what we teach.
Okay. So with that being said, I think it's pretty much my last question. Thank y'all for the great feedback. With that being said, unless they pretty much explicitly state, like, please remove me from your list or anything like that, even if they hang up on you or claim that they are here working with a professional, do you recommend continuing to touch base? Mailing seems fine as an obvious answer to me, but as far as calls and contact, what do you think?
I mean, best practice is call until you've spoken to everyone, because you never know the story, you never know what they own, and you never know which day they're actually going to need your help. And the people who are resistant, they're opening your mail, they're listening to your voicemails, they're just not ready. And one day they'll have a breakthrough, and the more often you call, the more likely you are to be there on the right day.
Okay. That's perfect. That was everything I had. Thank y'all for the advice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for participating. Appreciate it. We've got 4 more in the queue. We do have room for more, so don't be shy. Hit *6 and then hit 1. And next up is phone number ending in 1746. You're up next.
Yeah, this is Don. I have been subscribing for a while now, and I haven't been very good at following your plan. And so I want to have someone look at my account, if I may, and look at my letters. And then also, originally when I started with you, there was a different calling service I used. I don't think it was your specific company's ISA program. I think it was somebody else, or somebody else was making the calls. And so I need someone to take a look at my complete account. I'm buying 3 different areas to help me make sure my phone calls are being done and make sure my system's set up correctly. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely, Don. We'll, if you would, we've got your name, so we'll make sure that someone gets back to you. But just to be safe, anytime you need help with anything, send an email to support@alltheleads.com and just be as specific as possible. Tell us, I want help with the mail. They'll call you back. I want to talk to somebody about the ISA service. It'll narrow down the best person to call you back initially, if you would do that.
Okay.
But and let them know when you're. Typically, our response time is pretty quick when we get something like that in. But
yeah,
I've got your.
And let me ask you a question. So I kind of tackled it the way you said it, but I haven't putting myself out there in my letters that I'm a certified probate specialist. Are you saying that my letters I'm sending out don't put that I'm a real estate broker?
It's best if you don't. Because with marketing, it's okay to leave all that curiosity out there. You're not selling anything in your letter. You're just trying to make the phone ring. So quite honestly, the less they know about you, the more curious they'll be and the more likely they are to call. So put as much value out there as you can, but focus on them, not so much on you.
All right. Support at all.
It also doesn't mean that in writing you mask the fact that you are an agent or a broker. There are legal reasons that you need to do that and that kind of communication. But I think Chad's point is very well taken, is that if you focus your letter on all of the value that you bring to the game and you don't lead with, hey, I want to sell your house and I can get good money for it, it's the same program as talking to them on the phone. Your letter needs to just reek of high value and look at where the potential problems they might be finding are, and that you've got the answers to that. Because if you think about that process, if you've ever been through this or dealt with somebody that has, part of the problem is getting the house cleaned out, making sure that the treasured possessions of the people who have passed, if they're part of that program, that's typically one of the big stumbling blocks. And the other one is dealing with the other people that may or may not have an interest in this. And if you can offer to help with just those things alone, that's something that quickly gets their attention and is a great lead. So you want to lead with that, not how much I can sell their house for. Lots of people are going to do that.
Yeah, and you can get by with just putting your whatever's needed for compliance in the footer of your letter. And I did mine in a light gray.
Yeah,
so it was there and it was legible. And in Virginia, it required the brokerage name, phone number, and address. So I would put that on one line, and then below that, ethics are of utmost importance to us. If you already have an agent, please disregard this letter. Just as a CYA.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. I could barely hear you, Don. I know you guys were talking at the same time, but go ahead.
I just sent an email. If someone could just take 30 minutes of their time to look at how many calls I'm sending out, how many calls your ISA is making, and then at my letters to help me script those out. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, are we doing your letters for you, or are you doing them yourself?
Yes. No, you're doing them.
Okay. All right, well, we'll, like Jim said, if you'll just drop us a quick note, we'll get somebody right on that and get you all squared away.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you participating. We have 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 5144. You're up next.
Hi, my name is Kathy, and I'm from Boston. I've been with you guys for a couple months now, and I went through Probate Mastery. I am using your service, or have used your service up until last week for the calling, and then I do follow-up calls like the second and third call. So the notes that I'm seeing from your ISAs indicate that you're leaving voicemail messages. And I think I remember in Probate Mastery, the Chad said, you're trying not to sell on the phone like that, so just hang up and try back again. So I'm just wondering if that's changed, and if it has, what do you recommend as a voicemail message?
So we do recommend leaving voice. It depends on your call frequency. If you're calling once a week, you should probably only leave one voicemail, like your initial call, drop a voicemail, and then just call back and don't leave voicemail, because you don't want to be leaving the same message every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, right?
Right.
As far as the message, what I mean by don't sell on your voicemail, don't call and say something like, hey, this is Chad with ABC Real Estate. We did 94 deals last year in this market, and we think that we could sell your house for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Please call me. Like what some realtors would do. Instead, it's, hey, this is Chad. I sent you a letter, wanted to follow up, make sure you got it and you understood why we sent it. Give me a call when you have a chance. I don't even label myself at all. I'm just Chad. And those get the best callback rates. So just if you leave voicemails at reasonable intervals and keep them brief and leave a lot of curiosity out there. It's kind of the best approach.
So that's great. Chad, as a second question to this, I'm following your sequence where you're doing the 3 mailings, your folks are doing the initial call, and then I'll do subsequent calls. So should I be doing 6 attempts, 3 in mail and 3 phone calls, or do you just keep these people until you reach them, or they give you some disposition that says, please don't ever contact us?
Yeah, I mean, the best approach is continue calling until you've spoken to everybody. Mail can get really expensive, so sticking with that for 12 months isn't really an option for most people in their budget. But that's one of the big reasons we designed our CRM, to save you money. So every time you speak to someone, you either move them into, an active hot lead or lost or whatever it is. So you're only following up with the people you haven't spoken to. You're only sending letters and making calls. So your campaign cost decreases through each round of the sequence. But ideally, you want to, even if let's say you had 100, and by the time you sent your third letter and made your third phone call, there were still 25 people you haven't had contact with. The best approach would be in the subsequent months, keep calling those 25 until you've spoken to all of them and either ruled out, either helped them or figured out they didn't need help.
Okay. Great. Thanks for your help.
All right. Excellent.
Hey, Jim, the only other thing I also mentioned to Kathy is that, pursuant to what Chad said, in that first month, you're likely to be one of a bunch of people that potentially are getting after them. It could be that there are other people looking at probate data, and you're not going to be the only one. There are a lot of folks that are noodling around with that. By the time you get around to the third month, it is highly likely that you're going to be the only person that is still pursuing them. And the whole point behind that, as we said earlier, is being top of mind at the right time at the right place. So, frequency does work, but the later in the process that you go, the less likelihood anybody else is going to be there competing with you.
Great. That's good input. Thanks so much.
All right. Excellent. Next up is phone number ending in 4509. You're up next.
Hi, this is Julie Ann from Chicago, and I joined you about 3 weeks ago, and I'm currently in
Welcome.
Mastery. So thank you. I love the program. It's all the information is really amazing. I have two things. I sent out cards about, or actually the mailers, and that was about 2 weeks ago, and I have 2 responses so far. I've not started phone calls. I'm actually going to start doing that tonight after my third mastermind call. And so I have 1 positive and 1 negative. So one of the positive things was that I did get, I got a letter from, or actually an email from the public administrator, because I guess one of the contact information was for the public administrator versus, an executor or someone else. And they did say, it was a great letter. It said, thank you for your letter. And then where you expressed an interest in assisting the public administrator with the sale of real estate, I'm forwarding this letter to my staff. And in the event we have a comparable opportunity for sale comes up, we will contact you. And thanks for your interest in working with the Office of the Public Administrator. So where do I go with this? Do I try to set up an appointment and go and visit with them and maybe use this person as a, for information? Or
not for information, for referral. So you remember the end of the session yesterday when we talked about building your referral network?
Yeah.
So you should treat these folks just like the attorneys. They can actually be an even better relationship because it's really B2B for them, right? So they've been tasked with handling the estate of somebody they didn't know. So it's just it's just processing. So if if an attorney has done the legal part and they have to do everything else, the more of that you take away from them, the more valuable you become to them. Especially if there is no family. Sometimes the family is just, there's infighting and the judge steps in and says, okay, a public administrator will take it from here. But other times there is no family. And even if there are assets, there may not be anyone to rely on to, even just meet with contractors or, anything like that. So you definitely want to know as many of those people as you can. So just approach it just like we talked about with attorneys yesterday.
Okay. Okay, great. I will definitely do that. I'll call them tomorrow, and maybe set up a meeting. And then I have another one that she actually, it was one of the bad ones. So she found me on Facebook, and she found my Facebook, my business page, and put a little comment on there. So, and I did respond to her. So I don't know if I just let that go after I had responded. I don't know if you want me to read it, but it's kind of long. Like, what do we do with that? Do we just basically respond? I mean, because I know, like, you don't want that much on as public information. I don't know. Like, how do I handle that?
Well, I mean, objections are engagement, and we're gonna work on this today in Mastery. The lightning strike objection. When people misperceive your intent and they lash out at you. you can, what I usually tell people, and it usually doesn't happen on their social media accounts. Usually it's a phone call or somebody sends you a return letter or, sends you an email or something.
Right.
But it's really kind of dependent on whether or not did it roll off your back or did it stick to you. And if it's sticking to you, the one thing I encourage everybody to do, sit down and write a handwritten note and say, you know what? It seems like you misunderstood, and I just want to take an opportunity to tell you why I do what I do and how many families we've helped. And just unload, the reason you do this. You can mail it or you can toss it in the trash or leave it on your desk and think about it for a day or two. The exercise helps you get it off your chest, and it helps you remember why you got into this in the first place. I hate seeing people fail because they get hit like this one time and they give up, because how many families are not going to be helped by somebody with great intentions just because they got hit by one person whose ego lashed out? So step one is remember it's their ego. They don't know you, and it's not personal. Even if they take it there, they're trying to protect themselves. They're scared. They're overwhelmed. And you just happen to be the target that they use to vent on that day. And if you're on the phone, there's little tricks, and we'll work on that today in role play. But there's little tricks to disarm them. But if they use your social media, or they write you a letter, or send you an email, sometimes the best thing to do is nothing, because there's no way you're going to turn around somebody that's just irate. But a lot of times, if it just seems like they do have a need, and it's a lot easier to determine that on the phone, but you can do a few subtle things and turn it into an engaging conversation, turn it around, and actually make that person a client. And I've been able to do that a few times. I had one guy who was literally sitting at a mailbox. He went to my business mailbox, and he called me, and he's like, "Where are you? I drove over here to whip your ass." And I had sent him a letter. It was a high equity list. So I took a list of homes with at least 50% equity that hadn't transferred in 9 years. And he just took it the wrong way. Well, I did this with him, turned him around, ended up putting him on my buyer's list, and I've sold the guy like 5 houses since then. But he was so pissed. So just don't take it personal and stick. Like, if it were me and that's something that's permanently on my social media account, I would hit them square, like head on, as hard as I could, as hard as they hit me, in front of the world. So that gives the world a chance to see my response and my why and my intentions.
Okay, so then maybe, could I possibly send you the feed that we have going on, and then maybe you could look at it whenever.
Sure.
Maybe give me a suggestion.
Yeah, if you wanna send it over, I'll just respond as if it were my social media account, and you decide if you're comfortable with posting that or not.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, perfect. Hope that helps. Next up is phone number ending in 2121. That sounds familiar. You're up next.
Hi, it's Andrea from Florida. Have you had a winter?
I knew that was you, Andrea. You were last week, weren't you? Or the week before?
2 weeks ago, but I didn't know if
2
you
weeks
had a winter
ago.
The week. Yeah, I didn't know if you had
Not
one yet for this week.
Not yet. You going to be a repeat offender? Go ahead.
We'll see. So I am working currently on my third month now of leaves from you guys. So it's a little premature yet on that, because I haven't had a chance yet to get the whole way through the follow-up calls. But I'm sure something will pan out. But as of now, from both of the first 2 months, I have one listing that is going up tomorrow, and the other listing is going up next Friday. So I have one from each of my first 2 months of batches, and hoping and sure that there's going to be more to follow from this most recent third month.
Good for you. That's great. Have you calculated your ROI when they sell? What's your return on investment? Probably about 1,000%, right? What you're spending if you only got a deal a month, what would your return be like? Yeah.
Haven't gotten that far yet. I'll wait till I get actual commission checks, and I'll call you back with that. How about that?
All right. That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Chad, any questions for Andrea as far as what she's doing right, or are you pretty much following the program? You get the leads, you send the letter, and you follow up with a phone call, right?
Yeah, I don't do letters. I have a brochure that my daughter has designed. She is very, very talented. So, yeah, I have a brochure she's designed, and so that's what I send with a handwritten sticky, a little sticky note that I put on the front, and it's handwritten, every single one. Yep.
Excellent.
So.
And obviously you're following up with the phone calls, and you're consistent with it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's great. Other than those two listings in the 2 months, how many later deals, or how many good leads do you think you have out of those 2 months that'll eventually turn into deals, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, I would think maybe 2 more out of those. The first 2 months were only a half batch because I was wanting to kind of slowly dip my toe in the water at first to see about it. So that it's not they weren't full loads for either one of those. But I would guess, I mean, the one had said it would be a good year, and I've had some good conversations with him. So I think that will probably eventually pan out, but it'll be a while. And out of the other one, I would guess maybe one might convert, but you never know. You never know. It could go better or it could go worse.
You'll be pleasantly surprised too. You'll sooner or later you'll have somebody call you from a brochure you sent out a year ago. They just put it away. These leads season very, very well. So, thanks as always for sharing. We appreciate it. Chad, any comments?
No, I was just gonna, thanks for sharing, and the fact that you're doing this well this early. Like Jim just said, I think you're gonna be shocked at the come list me calls in month 3, 4, 5, 6, and beyond. Like. There are people who have gotten your brochure and they want to speak to you. They're just not ready. And one day they'll whatever needs to happen will happen, and they'll start calling. So the fact that you're getting that good of and how many leads were in those first 2 in each month's list?
The first 2 were 75, 76.
Yeah, so you're getting almost, 1.5% to 2% conversion, which is really good. I mean, you're gonna have a heck of an ROI. Your median price is what? Probably in the high 2s.
Our median price is right at $200,000.
Okay, so you're looking at potentially $12,000 a month, and you're spending what?
Yeah, I haven't seen any $12,000 a month, but that would be awesome. Yeah. So with the new full load, it gets at $449.95, and then the website, of course, on top of that, and then whatever my brochure costs, all of that. So yeah, I'd have to calculate all that out.
So let's call it $700 a month. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm sure it's under that, but yeah.
So if you hold this pace, when your deals start closing, you'll be spending $700 to make $12,000 in GCI. And then when that come list me business starts to come out of nowhere and surprise you, that number is just going to climb. And I mean, it's not unrealistic to climb up to like a 6% conversion and hold that. So just some encouragement, like you're doing really well, and thank you for sharing. But I wouldn't be shocked if you continue to come back and those numbers continue to rise for you.
Sounds good.
And keep coming back to the calls. We appreciate you sharing your success. Thank you, Andrea.
Sure.
All right, next up is phone number ending in 3908. You're up next.
Hey, guys, it's Sam from Richmond. How are you?
Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
To actually piggyback off what you guys were just saying, I had 2 wins this week that I wanted to talk about. Both of them were essentially come list me calls from letters I had sent out. The first one was she got my letter back in like August of last year and had just been holding on to it. She got two or three letters from me, I think 2 letters and a handwritten note card because I hadn't connected with her, and had just held on to my information. She lives out of state and called me this week and said, I've been wanting to talk to you, and and was just kind of hesitant at first. And then I said, well, let me explain to you what we do and who I am and what we are. And I went through like Chad's little speech verbatim and then just stopped talking. And she heavy sighed and said, well, that's a lot to deal with. Here's what's going on. And just spent the next half an hour unloading on me and let me know everything. And by the end of the conversation, I was like, we can help with that. We can help with that. You know, she had all of these problems and all of these issues. The house is full of stuff. She lives out of state, all this different stuff. And I kept providing solutions to help her. And she just was thrilled by the end of the conversation. Just, I can't believe you're a one-stop shop. This is wonderful. Why didn't, you know, I should have called you sooner. Just could not be happier. And it was so funny. It was like a role play. Like I thought I was being punked at first because of how everything went. I mean, I've just never had a conversation go that smoothly and that perfectly before. It was really funny.
She was following her script on her end. Good job for her, right?
Exactly. Right. I seriously, at one point I was like, this can't be real. Like the stuff she was saying was just exactly the way I've heard it in role plays and stuff like that. It was very funny. And the second one was a guy who had gotten my letters all the way back in April of last year. And he actually called me. His wife had gotten my letters because she had inherited her father's estate. And this was not about the estate. It was his sister who was in the hospital and has all these health issues, and they need to sell her house. And he and his wife had just held on to my letters for that much. Didn't need it at the time. Didn't need it for the father's estate. But now that the sister was in this situation where they needed to sell the house, he called me. He goes, hey, I heard you can help with selling properties as is. What can you do for me? I was like, where did you get my information? How do I know you? Like, what? And that was really cool too. So just two wins there that are go to the point of these leads season well, and people will. I had never been able to connect with either one of them before, and then they just called me out of the blue. So that was cool.
And I swear we didn't pay Sam to echo what we just talked about.
No, I promise you didn't. It was just so funny. I was actually laughing at the previous caller. I was like, this is going to sound like it's set up. Like, I'm not. It's not at all. It was just really, really amusing that it happened to happen.
Well, that's awesome, Sam. Thanks for sharing. So you're up to how many a month? Like, what are you getting consistently as far as monthly closings off of your campaigns now?
It's really hit or miss. I mean, honestly, for the last couple of months, we've been doing better. But every situation is different. So, and a lot of them, I mean, like I said, I'm just now getting to a point where we've been doing this for 2 years now, and I'm getting calls from letters that I sent 9 months to a year ago, which is weird. So, I mean, conservatively, I would say maybe one a month.
Yeah.
That's great.
And your lead count, and I'm trying to remember, you guys have 3 counties?
We have 2 counties. We dropped it down to two counties because we just weren't seeing results from the other ones. Yeah.
And you're under 100 leads, right?
No, actually so for January, both of our counties had over 100 leads. Like I think one of them had 150 and the other one had like right at 100 or right at 98 or something like that. So
yeah, we usually see a spike in January because we see a drop of about 18% in December. Less people file probate.
Yeah.
So that comes back into the market in January.
Yeah, for November and December it had dropped off a lot, but now it's back up again, which is I saw it last year too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear you guys keep doing it, and thanks so much for sharing. It's always good to hear from you and to hear what we teach is actually what's happening out there still. So.
Yeah, it's just so funny. The only reason I want to say this is because I really do want to let everybody, I know there's a lot of newer subscribers, like this stuff does work, and it really does happen the way that you guys say it will happen. If you work the system, it will work. It will. You will get come list me calls. It's crazy, but it happens.
That's awesome. Please keep coming back. Sam, you're one of the rare ones that does well, been with us a long time for the calls. A lot of times agents get too busy, so we can't tell you how much we appreciate you, and keep coming back and keep sharing. Thank you very much.
Of course.
All right. 2 more in the queue, guys, and we should finish right about on time. Next up is phone number ending in 7511. You're up next.
Hi, this is Maria from South Carolina. Chad, I spoke to you a couple of times yesterday in Probate Mastery. my question is, I'm struggling a little bit with the letters. I kind of talked to you yesterday. I have my realtor license, but I'm pivoting over to just being an investor. I've sent out the investor options letter and kind of looked through all the other campaign letters, and I'm trying to, what would you recommend? Like, as far as what other follow-up letters should I write now? Because it seems like y'all have more real estate.
So the letters that are there are proven. They've produced results. If you write your own, you never know what the recipe is going to be. You might have to write 5 letters that fail before you get one that works, right? So it could be a lot of trial and error. You're better off, you're more likely to find success quicker if you edit what's already there. Like, take the letters that we provide and make them fit your situation. So find one you're most comfortable with, and then put your own words into it and make it yours, rather than just trying to reinvent the wheel. Okay. So there's no rhyme or reason as far as, I know you recommend like letter 1, then follow-up call, another letter, follow-up call. Is there, as far as sequence, is that important in what you say in each of the letters? As far as sequence-wise, am I overthinking this? Well, maybe. So I did this in the beginning too. Like, I tracked my first 12,000 pieces of mail, to an obsessive level. What I found is I had the same response rate regardless of whether I was using a sequence or the same letter over and over and over. And what's most important is that you're there at the right time. So just like we've talked about over the last 15 minutes, like, it's not so much, all the letters that we write have the common theme of provide value first and offer a wide variety of options instead of one narrowly focused selfish option, like I'll buy your house at a deep discount. So they differentiate you, and because they're coming in greeting card envelopes with live stamps and hand address, they do stick around. That's why Sam's getting listings from a year ago. So it's not so much what is said in the letter, confining that to only the letters we put there. Like, those letters all have kind of a common theme of we're here to help in any way we can, and then we quickly find a way to turn that to real estate conversation. But it's not so important as to which one you choose. It's just that when you get it there and that it gets there, right? So that's why we recommend a minimum of 90 days, a 3-letter campaign, because that spreads you out over 90 days. And they're still on that emotional roller coaster during that 90-day period. And they may process and get to a point where they break through on day 1, or it may take them all 90 days. Or that letter may hang on the refrigerator for 2 years, and then Drew calls you. Remember the story I told you about Drew, the 52-year-old lady?
Yeah.
So she read the letter just like Sam's person. She read the letter, she put it up for safekeeping, and when she had her breakthrough, she called. So don't overthink the content of the letters. Just get letters out there.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We have one more person in the queue, guys. I guess this will last call. If anybody else wants to jump in, hit *6 and then hit 1.
Hey,
and
Jim.
Then, I was muting her out. That was her, but I got it. I hear the background noise. I was muting her out in between her comments.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead, Chad.
I'm gonna jump in 5 minutes. So if this goes long, I won't be here till the end. Just so you know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were commenting on the background noise. We have 2 more in the queue, and we got 5 minutes left with our coach. Next up is phone number ending in 0437. You're up next.
Hey, guys. It's Boots Swikert in Corpus Christi.
Hey, Boots.
I wanted to talk about the lady that was saying about she got the ugly comment written. The very first day that I put my Facebook page all up and had everything really cool about what I'm doing here, I got this very negative post, and I can't even remember all the stuff. The person was had fractured sentences, and so you never know what's going on. But, my reply was, I am so sorry this happened to you, and I'm here if there's anything that I can help you with, and that was it. And, if I got any more response, or if I got a response or a post that was really crazy, I would just not respond. I don't want to work with a crazy person. And,
yep.
Kind of dangerous. But I wanted to know, I prepared my letter, did my headers and had my logo up and everything. And on my end, when I was looking at the your website, everything in my letter fit within the boundaries and it looked good. But then when Lizzie was looking at it to do the proof, it didn't look the same as what I had. And the header was not there. And so we had to go back and forth with some emails to be able to get it straight. Is that sometimes a problem?
Yes. This is Tim. I'll help you with that. Part of the problem is that sometimes, depending on how things get cut and pasted into various parts of a document, there are things that will look okay when you're looking at them on the screen or in a proof, and when they actually get rendered into what the document will finally look like, they don't look correctly. So it does go back and forth, and that's why we try to make sure that there's only real text. Oftentimes, part of it comes into problems when people edit something in Microsoft Word or something like that, and it'll embed formatting characters that you don't see until it goes into a text block on a web page. But if you got any problems, we always straighten them out for you.
Yeah, we got it worked out, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing something incorrect. And
are you editing in Word? Are you editing anything in Word?
No, sir. I'm editing on your inside alltheleads.com, where the menu button says, edit this letter or whatever.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. And even there, unfortunately, is sadly an inexact science. I mean, using Word, there are a lot of things that programmatically that does. You'd have to replicate Microsoft Word, unfortunately, online to get all the good stuff that it has. So that's why I say we just kind of have to play with it a little bit, and sometimes even take the text that's in there, pull it out and run it through a filter and strip any formatting off and put it back in to make it work right. So we do that, and we're happy to help you. You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, well, and Lizzie was great. So, I mean, she was, I didn't have any lag in that. I mean, she was on the email with me back and forth, and so we were able to get it taken care of in about 20 minutes.
Well, that's great, and what's funny is I remember when that was going on, I was back there, and she was really, really concerned that it wasn't working out the way she wanted it to work, and she had asked somebody for some help as well. So we appreciate you, and we'll always get you fixed.
Great. And one more thing, I'm going to pick up another county. It just occurred to me the other day, and this is kind of morbid, but I thought we have another county that has a big vacation spot. They've got tons of condos, and I know that market, and a lot of those condos are owned by people that are well over 70 years old. And so, I started thinking, well, gosh, that's a market that I need to be in, because eventually those owners will pass away and their kids are going to need help. And these are all high-end condos. And so, by paying attention to you guys in these calls, it's got me thinking this way. And so thanks. That's why I participate.
That's great, Boots. Thank you. And I think there's a good chance one of our salespeople will be calling you back after the call, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get that other county added for you right away.
Great.
I've got your information right here, and I will forward it to your salesperson as we speak. I think that's Darcy, right?
Darcy, yeah.
Okay, we'll have Darcy reach out to you. And yeah, we have a significant number. I mean, way more than half of our subscribers will start with one county and build some success and add second and third counties, and we really appreciate that. And the nice thing, even if it's a little bit of a geographic distance, a lot of these are absentee owners. So it's, you know, they're relatively easy listings to take, even if they might be the next county over. So glad to hear that, and we'll be glad to help you get the other county set up. Appreciate your input.
Good deal. Thanks, guys.
All right, and our coach had to go. He's jumping on the mastery call. Next up is, and last up this week is phone number ending in 2729. You're up last.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Bill Janiga. I'm calling from outside of Detroit, Michigan area. And I have two quick questions for you, please. One, what is the best number to call to get some general information?
Sure. You can call the, Tim, I can never remember our 844 number, but it's 844 lead Fox, F-O-X, and or you can just call my direct number, 954-400-3500, and either myself or one of our sales team will answer.
Okay.
Have you been on our website?
I am. I wasn't sure I had the right website, and that was my main concern. I have some questions. I think it'd be appropriate to do it online on your call. The second question I have is, your calls that you do, are they recorded?
You mean the ISA calls, or
the ones I got on calls? Yes. Do you save those for later use, where you can listen to them?
You're talking about these calls, our mastermind calls?
Yes, correct.
Yes, yeah. We have 230 some of them in the can for this, and we also record the role play calls, and they're available for our subscribers. I'm guessing you're not a subscriber yet, right?
No, I put it basically, I have service through another source. I caught yours through a referral from a friend of mine, one of my investment groups. But your program comes on just at the end of the time that we have share sales locally. So we're either leaving the building or trying to get to the parking garage when your program's already started. So we miss part of it, and it then forces us to, do it in the car, and that's not always the safest thing to do.
Right. Yeah, you can. Go ahead, Tim.
You join our. If you're interested in doing it, obviously our intention is to make you a subscriber and have you. I mean, we're in business to make money, but we give a lot of this away, and that's one of the things we do give away. If you'll ask to join our Mastermind group on Facebook, go to All the Leads Mastermind on Facebook, and you can get access to them. We put them up there. They're usually back and available about within 24 to 48 hours of this call. This call will be posted online, and obviously, if you decide to become a subscriber, you've got access to not only that, but everything else that we do. So certainly want you to consider that, but ask to join our Facebook Mastermind group, and you'll get quick access.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your insight. I greatly appreciate it.
Excellent. And perfect timing. We're ending right on the hour. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. We had a great turnout. Thank you for all those that actively participated. We've got at least 3 great success stories we're going to have to choose from for our win of the week. And I want to end this call like I always do. I want to thank you for being here. You took the time, an hour out of your day to be here. I want to challenge each of you. Take one thought, one idea, one story, take one thing that inspired you on this call, go out and put it into practice, and come back next week and share your results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you the same time next Thursday.